Hello, boys and girls. So, again, today we're going to go through a different lesson, and of course, you're going to notice my voice is going to be different for this one. This accent is actually a different variation on the British accent. So, I hope you enjoy it, and again, any accents that you want to hear me do, by all means, contact me through any means necessary, and let's jump into it. Alright, so what we're going to be looking at today for a lesson is mostly we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at this problem in front of you, and then we're going to look a little further down at a problem that has to do with area. This is number 6. I don't believe I assigned this to you, but I might have. The way I wanted you to look at this, boys and girls, is just like that video I posted. We looked at something very similar to this. Number 6 says a circle with some angles is shown. Measures of the angles are shown on the circle. Excuse me. So there's a lot of information here, boys and girls, that's really useful. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see. But right here we've got a center point, right? So that's our center point, right? Each of these line segments meet at the center point, which means that they all make angles, right? Angles, boys and girls, which are presented to you by these little half circles, these little small parts of circles, right? They're showing you what angle you're measuring, right? You would imagine if it was FAD, you might have a small circle like this one around here, showing you that this is the angle, but that's not the case. What they wanted you to measure, in this case, would have been FAD all the way around, right? All the way around this way. Well, boys and girls, if you remember from the video, that's not any angle that we're going to be messing with, right? That's a reflex angle. They want to know which angle is obtuse. Well, you already know from what I rambled about that FAD is not your obtuse. They also mentioned that the measures of the angles are shown on the circle. So there's many different ways you can do this. You can look at it from just the perspective of, oh, I'll find all of the different angles made from, I think it's F is the baseline, so I'll find all these different angles, FAC, FAB, FAE, and FAD, and I'll look at them and figure out which one is obtuse. The other thing you could do is simply look at these lines. Oh, they'll show you which angles are, reflex, which ones are acute, which ones are obtuse. You can look at the measurements. We all know that acute is below 90. We all know that obtuse is between 90 and 180. We all know that reflex is above 180. Either way, you're looking at all these different angles. You're looking at all these different information that's being given to you. And you're figuring out, okay, well, FAB right off the bat, FAB, it says it's 150. And I can also just tell from looking at it that it's obtuse. So that's going to be my go-to answer. But because it is technically our interim, and it is a test, you should always make sure, double check. B, FAC. Well, I just told you that was our acute angle, right? If it's 60 degrees. So we know B's not right. C, FAD. FAD, we talked about that one first. That's our huge reflex angle, 330 degrees. It's not obtuse. And then FAE. FAE, 225 degrees. That's not obtuse either. So A would be the correct answer. But if you don't know what you're looking for when you're looking at this problem, there's a good chance you're going to mess up and pick the wrong one. So make sure that you understand what you're looking at. Central angle here, FAB, right? Just like they have FAC. Central angle here, a central point here. You've got all your angles around that central point. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So this is what we're looking at. And if you remember from that video that I did do, let me see if I can find it real quick here. Right, the example that I used was this one. You'll notice that this is a different circle with different angles. And I mean, you could look at this as, let's say F is our baseline here. You could look at this and say FAB is 60 degrees. You could also take a look and say FAC is a combination of 60 and 52 degrees. That is obtuse, right? You can look at DAC, that's a 90 degree angle, but DAB, well, that's a 98 degree angle plus the 52 degrees. of that angle, right? All of these different things, boys and girls, they're going to throw stuff at you on tests and assessments, and they're going to expect you to know how to not just regurgitate what I tell you, but to use the knowledge that you have in your head to think for yourself. And this is ultimately going to be the big thing, boys and girls. The other thing, boys and girls, I wanted to talk to you about real quick is this model here. So, I assigned this one to you. I know I assigned it to you. My hope, boys and girls, was that you'd remember what you did with Miss Brown, because I do recall from the very beginning of the year that this is something that Miss Brown went through with you guys. I thought it was cool that we were teaching students this model. Basically, the whole idea, boys and girls, is you're looking at the model and they want to know the product represented by the model. Basically, what is the area of the box, right? What is the area? This is what we called open array, boys and girls. This is an open array. Imagine you made 25 X's down 25 times across, right? Because that's basically what they're saying. And then they split it up. They want you to explain how you got your answer. So, of course, we're going to explain how we got our answer, but to break it all down and show you what the original thought is, I'm going to do something a little different. So, first of all, we've got this open array, right? And what they want you to realize that they've done is they've taken, hold on, exchange it for this, make it over here. All right. What they've done is they've taken this box, right? The square. It is a square. And I apologize, boys, because I'm using a mouse, so my writing's not going to be the best. They've taken the square, and what they want you to realize is that this whole thing is a 25 by 25 square. Oops. 25 by 25 square. What they've done, boys and girls, they split it. They've given you 20 here and 20 here. 5 here and 5 here. Why? Because it's going to make it a whole lot easier to multiply. What they've done, boys and girls, is they have rewritten the box. They've said, oh, well, we're going to split this up and we're going to split this up. And here you've got 20. Here you've got 20. Here you've got 5, and here you've got 5. Now, why is this important? Well, because when you set up your model like this, what they're expecting you to do, boys and girls, they're looking at you and they're saying, okay, we split our area up. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 areas to calculate and add together. Add together being the most important thing. Starting from just the basics, let's look at this big square here. This big square is the area of 20 times 20. It's a smaller square than the big square. 20 by 20 square. So 2 times 2 is 4. And I know that 20 times 20 is basically 2 times 10 times 2 times 10. So 10 times 10 is 100. 4 times 100 is 400. Right? There are many different ways you can look at it, boys and girls. Just add the zeros onto the 4. You can do it the standard method. Any way that helps you figure out that this is 400, good. Now, let's look up here. 5 times 20, right? This box is denominated by 5 and 20. This box here. This box here, right? 5 times 20 is 100. I know that because, well, when you know your math facts, boys and girls, 5 times 2 is 10 and add the 0, 100. Well, if you look at it, boys and girls, this is the same thing. 5 times 20 is the same thing as 20 times 5. So this is also going to be 100. Squeeze the 0. And this little box here is going to be 5 times 5, right? 5 times 5 is 25. So we've got our 400. Again, I apologize for my horrible writing. I'm trying to do it with a mouse instead of handwriting. My handwriting is not the greatest, and I've got to do this on a bloody mouse. 5 down here, 2 here, and bring the... Oh, there was 2 100s. Whoops. Boys and girls, key example of why you really need to pay attention to what you're doing. We have 2 100s, so I need 2 100s. That would give me 625. Otherwise, I would have had 525, and I would have gotten it wrong. And when I tried to explain my answer, the explanation about forgetting 100 would have been very interesting. But for the most part, boys and girls, this is what we're looking at here, right? What is the product represented by the model? Well, the number you'd write in the box is 625, right? Like we determined, and explain how you got your answer. Well, you would explain that, oh, I used the open array. You would, of course, have written your work on here, not made your own model. And you would say, oh, I used the open array and I did 20 times 20 and got 400. Then I did 20 times 5 and got 100. Another 20 times 5 is another 100. And 5 times 5 is 25. Period. Then I added them all up and I got 625. Period. Like 2 to 3 sentences. Honestly, not too much to write, and you've explained it, you get your full credit. Boys and girls, these are the 2 problems that I foresaw having the most difficulties. There might be other problems, in which case I want you to reach out and ask me any other questions that you have about problems. Please do not hesitate to reach out. I can make videos about basically anything, boys and girls. I just need you to tell me that I need to make a video on something before I can do it. So, I really hope that this is helpful. I've given you the answer to 2 of these things. Again, boys and girls, this is not your actual interim test. They're cancelling it all. And this is mostly just work for you to look at and help you refresh. Again, this is something that you see with Miss Brown. Angles is something that you've never seen before, but angles, boys and girls, are pretty straightforward. And alright then, so that will conclude the video for this lesson. If you have any feedback for me, please reach out to me. You can leave a comment down below, or for the parents and students, you have my contact information as well as Class Dojo. Really honestly, boys and girls, these videos are for you to learn, so I'm really hoping you're paying attention and not just letting the video play through. You're actually engaging with the lessons. Of course, any feedback is welcome as well. So if you'd like to see something change, if you have voice recommendations, please by all means. I understand, boys and girls, that this voice that I'm doing is not exactly polished. It was a great opportunity I saw to do some practice. It was a bit of a coin toss, so expect better voices in the future, and if I do happen to do a British accent in the future, it will most likely not sound like this one. I'm going to wrap up this introduction, this outroduction. It is a bit late when I'm recording this, boys and girls, so please bear with me. Thank you for your patience, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, you're lovely. Thank you for watching.